Okay, now let us concentrate on our topic of today's discussion, and we are discussing about the sex hormones, isn't it? We're discussing the chemistry, nomenclature, stereochemistry, and metabolism aspect of the example givens in each of the category, isn't it? So basically, we're discussing the drugs acting on endocrine system, and till the point of time, we have finished the corticosteroid. Then we started with the sex hormone, wherein we have studied the one of the sex hormone called as the estrogen, a female sex hormone, wherein these three examples, these four examples, not three, four examples: estradiol, then estrone, isn't it, and estriol, along with the diethyl stilbestrol, its structure, mechanism, its metabolism, SAR, that we have already finished. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to look at the next aspect into the sex hormone, that is the testosterone. Okay, so this is one of the drug that is given in your syllabus. So today I am going to talk about this male sex hormone testosterone. What is the classification given, then which are its uses, isn't it, that we are going to observe in more details. So now let us start our discussion of the androgen, that is the testosterone. Okay, so now these androgens, or its example is the testosterone. Okay, so this testosterone and its more potent reduction product 5-dihydroxytestosterone are produced in a significantly greater amount in male than in female. So therefore we can call testosterone as a male sex hormone. Okay, so now testosterone is only going to show its action when it is going to get reduced to 5-DHT, 5-dihydrotestosterone. It is the 5-dihydro, not hydroxy, it is the 5-dihydrotestosterone, isn't it? So they are mainly produced in the males. So these endogenous compounds have two main activities, or two main mechanisms they are going to regulate. So the testosterone is having androgenic activity as well as the anabolic activity. Okay, so as it is the male sex hormone and it is having the androgenic activity, androgenic means it is going to promote the male sex characteristic, isn't it? Okay, then anabolic activity, so anabolic means a muscle building activity. So testosterone will going to show androgenic activity, means promoting the male sex characters, as well as the anabolic activity, that is the muscle building. So now keep this thing in your mind, that the androgens, the example is the testosterone. So that testosterone is associated with two principal activities, that is the androgenic activity, isn't it, and the anabolic activity. So androgenic activity, male sex character; anabolic activity, it is for the muscle building, isn't it? Okay, now let us see the classification of this androgen. So the androgen, it is having the four different types. So the first type is the androgens, in which first is the natural. So natural androgen is testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, and androstenone. So these are the examples of the natural androgens, which are mainly synthesized and secreted in a human body. Synthetic are methyl testosterone, fluoxymesetron, and mesetrolone. These are the examples of the synthetic one. Now if you look your syllabus, we are having only two examples from the androgen. So the one example is the testosterone, and another example is the nanondrolone. Okay, nandrolone deconate. These two are the examples in our syllabus, isn't it? But this classification I have displayed to reflect the spectrum of activity of these androgens, isn't it? So some are the androgens, some are the anabolic steroids, some are having the anti-androgenic activity, some are having the 5-alpha reductase inhibitory activity, isn't it? And some of these androgens, they are used for the erectile dysfunction. For example, the testosterone. This is the very important drug, testosterone, for treating the erectile dysfunction, as well as some of its derivative like phosphodiesterase inhibitors. Example is the sildenafil, tardenafil. They also used for the erectile dysfunction. So this we are going to cover in our incoming topic. At present we are going to concentrate on this only, androgens, isn't it? Okay, so now androgens, as far as the example is concerned, the natural is the testosterone and the anabolic is the nanandrolone that is given in our syllabus, isn't it? Okay, now let us look at the metabolic fate of these androgen. Example is the testosterone. So the testosterone, it is going to get convert into the 5-alpha dihydrotestosterone, that is the 5-alpha DHT, which is the active metabolite of the testosterone. Look at your screen. So the principal way of metabolism of testosterone is the 5-alpha, okay, 5-alpha dihydrotestosterone, that is the 5-alpha DHT, using the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. So now where the structural changes are going to get happen? So it is happening at the 5 position. Okay, so at 5 position there is happening a reduction. Reduction means addition of hydrogen. So the hydrogen, it is going to get added over here, isn't it? And this double bond is going to get disappear. So we are going to have 5-dihydro. Okay, now try to remember, in the IUPAC nomenclature we are using dihydro terminology when there is presence of 2 hydrogens over there. Okay, and the 5 indicate the position, isn't it? So 5-alpha, alpha indicate its orientation, that hydrogen's orientation is the below the plane. So 5-alpha dihydrotestosterone, this is the metabolic product of the testosterone. So that is the metabolic fate of the testosterone. So this 5-alpha dihydrotestosterone is the active metabolite, which upon further action of 3-alpha HSD, it is going to form 5-alpha androsten 3-alpha 17-beta diol, which upon interacting with 17-beta HSD will form androstenone, isn't it? Androstenone. So this is the metabolic fate, one of the what you can say, the root of metabolism of the testosterone. Another way is using the enzyme 17-beta HSD. Okay, 17-beta HSD. So using this enzyme, there is formation of androstenedione. Okay, androstenedione. Now this androstenedione is having again the 2 roots to again undergo the metabolism, isn't it? So now when androstenedione is going to get formed, what is going to get happen is that in this case the 17 hydroxyl is going to get converted into the 17 keto functionality, isn't it? Okay, so this is going to get form the androstenedione. Now this androstenedione, using the several enzymes, will going to form these 2 another metabolic products, isn't it? Okay, so what is the key to understand this thing is that the testosterone is undergoing the metabolism using the 2 principal enzymes. So the first enzyme is 5-alpha reductase and another enzyme is the 17-beta HSD. So using these 2 enzymes, testosterone undergoes the metabolism. Okay, So that is the metabolic fate, metabolic part of the testosterone. Okay, so testosterone is rapidly converted to 5 alpha dihydrotestosterone in many tissues by the action of 5 alpha reductase. Depending on the tissue, this is either to activate testosterone to the more potent androgen DHT. Okay, so 5 alpha DHT is more potent than the testosterone. Okay, so this is called as the step of metabolic, what you can say, the inactivation also. Okay, so the primary route of metabolic inactivation of testosterone and DHT is oxidation at 17 position, isn't it? Formation of 17 one over there. The 3 one group is also reduced to the 3 alpha and the 3 beta ols, isn't it? So the third position in the structure of the steroid, in the structure of this testosterone, is also prone for the metabolism. So if you look at this double bond O, third position, it is going to form the OH over here, isn't it? That is called as the OL. Right? Now let us now concentrate on the SAR studies of these androgen. Okay, so now let us concentrate on the first point of the SAR. So what first point says is that testosterone exert its action after conversion to dihydrotestosterone. Okay, so that point we already discussed. So this is the structure of testosterone, isn't it? It contains a total 19 carbon. So this structure, it contains double bond between 4 and 5. So that double bond is going to get reduced to form a potent androgen dihydrotestosterone. That is the first point. Second point, a steroidal skeleton is the minimum structural requirement to have androgenic activity. Okay, so look at this basic steroidal skeleton. This is the basic steroidal skeleton. If you are going to observe this, I have drawn over here along with the numbering, isn't it? So total 19 carbon atoms are there over here, and this is the basic steroidal skeleton. So that is the minimum structural requirement to have androgenic activity. What is the meaning of androgenic activity? Androgenic activity means it is going to show the male sex characters. Okay, now next point, 5 alpha androsten. So here is the 5 position, 5 alpha, this is the alpha. Okay, so 5 alpha androsten has the androgenic activity. Okay, one of the derivative of the androgens is the androsten. Okay, next point, ring expansion as well as the contraction and change of configuration from 5 alpha to 5 beta destroys the androgenic and the anabolic activity. So this position, fifth position, is very very important to show the androgenic and the anabolic activity, isn't it? So if you're going to change the configuration at this point, if you're going to change the orientation of this hydrogen from 5 alpha to 5 beta, then androgenic and anabolic activity is going to get destroyed, isn't it? As well as the same is the thing with the ring expansion and the contraction, isn't it? The ring expansion over here as well as the contraction, that may going to reduce or destroy the androgenic and the anabolic activity. So next point is that testosterone is not effective orally due to its oxidation at its 17 beta position, isn't it? This position is 17 position. Okay, so testosterone, it is rapidly undergoing the oxidation at 17 position. Okay, so if it is rapidly undergoing the oxidation, then it is undergoing the metabolism. Okay, so now testosterone is not effective orally due to oxidation at its 17th position, and this position also play a crucial role in attachment to the receptor. This position, 17 beta position, it plays very crucial role. 17 beta substituent, it plays very crucial role for attachment at the receptor. That is the next point of our SAR. So now next point of the SAR, the 17 alpha alkyl group. Look at this structure, look at your screen. 17, this is alpha orientation, this is alpha methyl. So 17 alpha alkyl groups are incorporated to reduce the metabolism and to make it orally active. So look at this structure. This is the example of 17 alpha methyl testosterone. 17 alpha methyl testosterone. So by attaching this alpha oriented methyl group, that is going to reduce the metabolism, isn't it? So as metabolism is going to get reduced, so it will become orally active. Now let us see the next modification. Modification at 17 alpha methyl lead to some of the potent and orally active anabolic agent. Okay, so some of the another examples. Look at this structure. Okay, the name of this agent is the methandrostinolone. Okay, methandrostinolone. Okay, over here what we did is that we have incorporated one more double bond at position 1 and 2, isn't it? One double bond over there, and also we are having the ketone group over there also. Okay, so now let us focus onto that structure. So this one is the structure, isn't it? So modification at 17 alpha methyl lead to some of the potent derivative which are orally also active, and they are also going to show the anabolic activity, isn't it? Okay, so now the example is the methandrostinolone. Then another example is the oxymesentrone. This is the structure of the oxymesentrone, wherein we have substituted at 4th position the hydroxide. Still we have added the 17 alpha methyl group over here. Okay, so now look at this third structure. Okay, this is the structure of oxymetholone. This is the structure of oxymetholone. Okay, so now at second position what we did is that we have added the double bond over here. Okay, so this is the alkene like structure over here and the OH over here. So the name is oxymetholone. Okay, this oxymetholone has 17 alpha methyl. Okay, so what is the advantage of 17 alpha methyl? Orally active anabolic agent. So when we are going to again substitute the alkene at the second position, then there is a greater anabolic activity, isn't it? We are going to have the greater anabolic activity. So this greater anabolic activity is due to the substitution of sp2 hybridized carbon atom at second position, making this ring A, more planar. It is going to make the ring A more planar, and making the ring more planar will going to increase the anabolic activity, isn't it? So therefore this oxymetholone is very potent anabolic androgen. Next point, increasing now the alkyl side chain at 17 alpha position will going to reduce the activity. So only methyl group is tolerated, single carbon at 17 position. Esterification of testosterone at 17 result in the long duration of action of the drug, and we are mainly using it for the parenteral purpose. Okay, so at 17 position you can substitute the ester, you can make its prodrug. Esterification means we are making the prodrug. Then 17 alpha OH. Okay, what we previously seen, we seen the 17 alpha methyl. Now this is the 17 alpha OH. It do not increase or decrease the activity. Okay, so you can substitute the alpha oriented OH, so that is not going to increase or decrease the androgenic potential of the drug. Okay, last point, 10th point, the halo substituted derivatives at position number 4 and at position number 9 will lead to the potent androgenic agent, isn't it? So fluoxymesetron and the 4-chlorotestosterone. Okay, so 9th position fluoro, 4 position chloro. So when you are going to substitute the halogens along with the alpha oriented methyl, then the potency means it is related to the concentration. So in very least concentration we are having the potent androgenic agent, isn't it? So the next point is that if we going to make the structure of testosterone into the heteroaromatic structures like oxandrolone, okay, this is the oxandrolone. In the oxandrolone, the second position carbon is substituted with the oxygen, therefore the name is the oxandrolone, isn't it? So in the oxandrolone, it is a potent anabolic agent, okay. You can replace this carbon with the oxygen, isn't it? So this is called as the oxandrolone, which is a potent anabolic agent, okay. Now next one is the example is the stanozolol, okay, stanozolol. This in the case of stanozolol, if you look at the structure in the stanozolol, the third keto group is replaced with the nitrogen, and there is formation of the cyclic structure over here, heterocyclic structure over here, isn't it? So the structure name is the stanozolol. The stanozolol has a good anabolic activity. If you look at all these structural modification, one constant thing is that at 17th position we have retained the alpha oriented methyl group, isn't it? If you're going to observe each and every structure over there, then what you're going to observe is that the 17 alpha methyl group is maintained. That is very, very important, because that is going to limit the fast metabolism of the testosterone, isn't it? Look at these examples. I'm showing you from the start of the SAR. This is one. This structure alpha methyl, alpha oriented methyl, isn't it? Okay. This structure alpha methyl. Along with the alpha methyl, we have made the substitution at the different positions of the testosterone to yield the metabolically stable and the potent derivative, isn't it? So now as the video lecture is extending, we will discuss the remaining thing in the next lecture. So today what we will discuss the androgen, its SAR and its different mechanism of the actions along with the metabolism, isn't it? We also seen this classification also. So in incoming interaction we will discuss this androgen in more details. Till that time, review this video lecture. Okay, so take care of yourself and bye.